No consistent geological column? Evidence, please. What has been shown is that animals remain very much in their relative strata, and you won't, for example, find a horse in the Upper Cretaceous. Myself, and many thousands of others who have researched the matter, come to the same conclusion based on the evidence clearly visible in rock deposits around the world, both above and below water. Creationists have failed to provide evidence for their claim. My own and the claims of other scientists, however, have decades of solid proof and all corroborated against other scientific disciplines, including molecular biology. Blind adherence to unproven theories? Regardless of an agreement on the age of rocks, no one can possibly dispute the fact that animals are separated into their relative and distinct geological layers and do not default from this taxonomic ordering. There's no way you could ascertain from my previous post that I have not spent time, potentially a lifetime, studying geology and paleontology. Any fossil I have harvested, my colleagues have harvested, and in fact anyone has harvested, has conformed to the taxonomic ordering I mentioned above. Anything out of this order can be explained because of other forces or events acting on it to place it outside of that order. The only blind adherence to unproven theories here is your own, and it appears unique and personal discovery you have yet to share with the rest of the world. Since you haven't even established whether or not I harvest fossils, you can't know if I lack the knowledge to debate you on this issue. Clearly, given my answers that follow and possibly preceded, I can. If you want to irrefutably answer and can provide evidence for just one, please could you explain the way a 1,200-foot chalk cliff could have been formed in just a few thousand years, when worldwide scientific evidence based on laws of physics, geology and molecular biology shows growth of only around 1 to 2 inches per 1,000 years. Complete lack of knowledge? I think you'll find the content of my post both authoritative and generally accepted by the wider scientific community as correct as far as can be shown. No evidence of fossils recovered or of geological examination point to a flood of any kind. Without going into enormous detail, there is no evidence whatsoever of a global sedimentary deposit. This, in light of the fact that apologists have actively sought it out for several hundred years to support their claim. Redistribution of the remaining life to geographically isolated places like Australia, for example, would be a major problem. Human-exclusive illnesses such as polio, TB, Ebola, smallpox and the like would imply that at least some of Noah's group were infected prior to the flood. Some of these have a mortality rate high enough to eliminate this possibility and are infectious enough with a rate of progression high enough to have killed all the humans on board the boat. Not one single instance of the doomed evil humans being found in a mass grave site directly attributable to this flood has ever been found. There should be hundreds of such fossil bone beds. Chinese written records predate this supposed flood and remain continuous across the time span involved. Dendrochronology, which incidentally most creationists accept because they have to, predates the supposed flood timeline alone. The fact that trees and plants can't survive under leagues of water, and thus meaning that herbivores starve to death waiting for plant life to return, is a major problem. Parasitoids, animals which kill their host and require their host for their development and or reproduction. How do you suppose they or their host survive the journey and the repopulation after the deluge? Utter devastation of whole ecosystems. The list goes on, and creationists are against the wall with the volume of weight of evidence. Pose no questions relevant to the claim. My claim was that there was fossil evidence for evolution. My post asked for contradictory evidence or examples of non-taxonomic ordering and a clarification/question about inverted fossil deposits. I also asked if you were familiar with certain fossils that further prove the authenticity for the taxonomic ordering of fossils by both appearing and being in a predicted strata down to a very small relative timescale. These questions were extremely relevant but ignored. Again, you drone on about me having no experience in the field when I absolutely do, and you also have so far ignored my competent responses and refused to debate me on my counterclaims. My research, and nor does anyone else's, who is taken seriously scientifically and who has conducted verifiable study with data offered for peer review, point to any kind of a global flood for the reasons stated above. The fact-checking and research is complete. The conclusion is in. There was no global flood as depicted in the Bible or elsewhere. You are not offering me any data to refute my counterclaim, only saying that I should go and research and find out for myself. Yet you have missed the very fact that I have done this, hence my answers, and corroborative evidence. Finding a fossil, finding 10,000 fossils will still not point you to a global flood, and will mean nothing without the necessary study behind that to be able to understand such finds. Your advice is therefore nonsense. No, you didn't read the whole email, since its contents was devastating to your blind assertions and agreement with Dr. Fernandez. It's no surprise that you also wrongly accuse me of being religious. Nothing could be further from the truth. Christians by definition accept belief blindly, since if you follow the Bible you have to accept the events contained therein as fact, without possibility in almost all instances of proper verification. Christianity, in fact most religious followers, are extremely closed-minded, since if they open their mind it would conflict with the dogmatic material within the religious text that they cling to and conduct their lives by. As science grows, religion is reduced to smaller and smaller holes in human knowledge and critical thinking and understanding, and is constantly engaged in re-engineering and retrospectively shoehorning newly discovered facts into the biblical version of events. If you have no time for ignorance, you clearly have no time for yourself, since no ignorance was displayed on my part during this discussion, only yours, and your inability to debate with evidence, data, and a written offering that held water aside from assertion. Did you see anyone not seeking or debating the truth in this discussion? Religion questioned? There's no religion in place to be questioned, such as the utter ineptness of your understanding of your opponent in this discussion. At no time was your character attacked before you initiated a personal attack of your own, which was uncalled for and inappropriate given the nature of the debate and its origin. Your response by deleting the post criticising you and also blocking further comments shows your level of intelligence and the willingness to remain open-minded and to potentially learn from your peers. This is both a predictable, see my post that says you will delete the post, which you did, and textbook discussion response from a creationist, as is my experience in many years debating them about geological and paleontological evidence and established truths. Read, understand, and see for yourself how these people behave, and when faced with the truth, they simply refuse to debate, shut the door, and run.